Hi.
Hey.
So we're missing.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
We're missing a couple of people. So far, Ricard, is that how you pronounce his name? He's not making it. Has a meeting with the mayor of Miami to do some public art. So it's a pretty good excuse for missing his panel. And we're also missing Shelby. So she's not here. She may join us on stage. So I'm Kate Spector, and I am an executive producer at a creative agency in New York City. And I'm also a digital artist. And I do a lot of 3D digital art, have an MFA in digital art, follow the whole scene. And here we have with us Kosela Sugar.
Right.
Pronouncing it right?
Yes,
finally?
that's right.
Or I actually have to roll the R. Sugar.
Sugar.
Right. Okay. And Jay Alders.
My name is a little bit easier to say, yes.
Yes. So how about you guys introduce yourselves? Tell me a little bit about your work and how you got into NFTs.
I'm mainly DJ and also artist painter with physical arts, and I work with spirituality. And I discovered NFTs and all the not digital art, because digital art I made it since 4 years, but 2 years ago I discovered the non-fungible tokens and all the ecosystem. And for me it was like a new step on my work, and it was more easier to share and discover and to meet all the ecosystem of the NFTs. That's for me the main thing.
But you just brought up spirituality, so I'm just curious how that fits with NFTs.
That's yes, for me it's NFT. And blockchain is evolution of humanity, and the spirituality is something that is here as help us to be more and more human, to create more emotions, to be more human. That's the most simple for me. And the NFTs, it's the tool to sustainable and to create financial ecosystem to help all the digital artists and many other artists to create and to be their own manager. That's what I understood with the NFTs, is to be more responsible about your work, more responsible about yourself, and you don't give all the informations and all the power to the galleries and other middlemen.
Okay, so I'm sorry I have to jump to this question, but you are saying you're not working with any galleries? Do you still not do?
I work with some galleries, but it's more and more complicated because my ego is growing very fast.
Okay.
And it's more complicated, to be honest.
All right, well, we'll circle back to that kind of relationship. All right, Jay, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Jay. I'm based at New Jersey. Don't hold it against me, please. I live at the beach. And so I was, like many of you, I was the little kid that was just kind of withdrawn art and just focused on my artwork. But I also had a very technological, nerdy side as well. So my art career sort of developed by being very focused on becoming an artist full time as from a young age. I never really had a backup plan. I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to kind of make that happen. And then when NFTs came about, it was really a great opportunity for me to kind of take my more technologically driven side of my brain to merge with my traditional art. And so it's been really it's been a great journey so far. I've gotten to the space in March of 21 and having a lot of fun with it.
Cool. So so both of you produced before making NFTs, and I'm wondering if your work changed at all because of NFTs. If some of your work, if you're just making NFTs of your regular work that you did before, it's just it's adding another layer of functionality to it, or do you feel that part of what you're producing, it's changed the content a little bit, and how you feel in that process?
That's a really cool question, because it is interesting how NFTs does influence the more traditional painter side of myself and vice versa. So before NFTs came about, I've always been into digital art since the 90s. I love digital art. I love using digital means to create art. And before NFTs, I always kind of internally thought of a lot of my digital pieces as a means to kind of work through the colors and the composition of my paintings. And I would work through a piece digitally and then bring it to canvas. And when NFTs came about, you sort of, as an artist, I realized the digital can be the final piece. And so that was really kind of liberating to realize that. And so I feel like it has taken my digital art to a different realm, because as having the digital as the final product enables you to use different methods that I might not have before. But whereas before I would kind of use the digital to create the painting. So, and it also really kind of put a new focus for me on like curation, which is something I know we were talking about before that you're really interested in. I think NFTs sort of taught me as a fine artist, even though I had a fine art career like professionally for a long time, it sort of really reinforced the idea of how important it is to curate your collections. And I don't think I really had that as much until I got into like the NFT space to really realize the importance of that for my collectors.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So, but the content. So you're talking about the process, though. That the way you make it. I'm just wondering, like, has there been any content choices of what you make that is like, speaking more to the, NFT collectors? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I try to put myself in the mind of my collectors, and I think that my paintings have a collector base of their own, and so I try to have my digital work reflect my NFT collectorship. And so I think that, yes, my digital NFT collections largely like sort of reflect a more, I don't want to say graphic, but a more digital heavy process, whereas my painterly side of my work is, very brush heavy. I like textures, I like doing impasto work, different things that don't have a place with the digital. So they sort of take their own home, if that makes sense.
So Kosela, what about you?
About me, it was really interesting because before to use NFTs, I also use Instagram as a gallery. I was like an influencer. I share and I show a lot of my work on Instagram. I build a community through Instagram, Facebook, and all the social media. But with the NFTs, I start to create from my physical art, from my painting, more video, more NFTs, and I try to, as artist, to have another view on my work. That is really interesting because for the first time, it's not about communication. I don't use the social media or the computer to show my art. I start to work on my physical art and to make video, music, and to try to join all my different music, producing paintings, video. And it's about, as you said, curating a collection. It was more about the identity. What's my identity as artist? And for me, it's the next step, and it's reached me to another kind of art. Because it's not a question of brand, it's more about who are you? What do you really want to do? How do you want to create your work? There is a word in French, we talk about prospérité and pérennité. It's like, what will your art become when you will die? Is it creator? Is it foundation? Is it museum? And with NFTs, that's what I really understand, how my work will stay on earth after my death. That's very strange.
So it was more of a motivator. You found more incentive than before.
It was very strange because I stopped to think as a little artist trying to sell his art. Mm-hmm. And paradoxically, it works more because you are on something as eternal. You are touching your soul. You are touching something more deeper.
Well, you did bring up spirituality. So
yes,
so I think that's fantastic. There's a lot of people that say, I went to India and I went to this place where they made these amazing fabrics, and the artisans there, they did some incredible work, but they were saying that they were a conduit, like a spiritual conduit from this higher power, that when they work, it's, they're just channeling like through their hands. So if you feel like that about being on the blockchain and with NFTs, like I could see how that would inspire your work to evolve. That's really awesome.
You're right, like because that's the key for artists. I was a lucky guy because I met a lot of students of great master. For example, the first student of Dali, people who knows Andy Warhol, people who works with the creators of Mr. Miro and Picasso. And they all told me that you are shifting as an artist when you start to think about ecosystem, how you can motivate and create more value on the artistic ecosystem. And when you think about it, you think for 1 century, 2 centuries, 3 century, you have this question to how can I color outside the line, is our thematic, but
That's right.
how it will stay and how can I inspire others. And you can start with community, because we are in NFT, we are in ecosystem, and how to build all these dimensions. That's for me.
Well, the next question was community. So maybe you could continue about your community and how you work.
I think that you are also artist. So you are talking a lot of questions for us, but I want to ask you, what is a community for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, you see, okay. I think this is a little different, though.
Let's color outside the line.
Oh, sure. Okay, so yes. So I do a lot of commercial art as well, but my fine art that I would like to jump back in. But my community, I think, is all like personal. Like I have a lot of friends that are artists. I know a lot of people that have galleries, and I go to all the shows, and it's more for me. It's more in person, but but I'm not like actively promoting. I'm not like buy my work right now, you could find me in this gallery. But I have worked for some famous artists, like as their main digital modeler and other things like that. So yes, so I'm asking you as a professional artist that you've got your game going, what your community is.
Yes, you are right. My community is how to build a community. I'm starting to build a community because before I was on Discord, I was on many underground social networks trying to build artificially. But now I want to create it more on truth, not for communication, not for business, not for marketing, but to start to meet real people that I enjoy to be with them. It's very risky because I'm lucky guy again. I take some money by crypto, by trading, and now I have the luxury to take the time to build this kind of relation. That's why I tell for many artists NFT, you need to learn how to invest, how to be your good manager, how to manage your wealth, to take the time to build, to think and to be a real artist, not like as a worker in a workshop, but more about deeper and high level of questions. That's what I really want to build in my career. But it's very personal, and every people have his own motivations.
All right. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people with NFT communities. They're usually joining some kind of group, like there's the art blocks people, have done some interesting things. There's some other artist DAOs. There's a lot of artists that support and buy each other's work. They're collectors with each other. Promote yourself as a community. Get yourself out there on social media. I'm just kind of like, how does it fit in? Because I know with blockchain, it's all about community. So we have DAOs and we have, it's making a support system. And so other than your personal connections, which are great, how are you? How do you find community within the?
It's very fantastic when the market is bullish. That's what I understood. It's very fantastic because last year the market was bullish. There's a lot of people. I saw so many people, they are talking too much about their projects. Now this year they are not here. That's because the money ran out and they run out with the money. That's very strange. It was like now in the very bear market, you need to be strong and you need to be passionate and you need to be true about your relation with blockchain, NFTs, even with art, even with creativity. In France, we have La Bohème. La Bohème, it's a song that telling that a lot of artists, great artists, live really poorly, but they were poor, but they continue to produce because it's their identity. They are artists. They are not trying to be or to be artists because it's cool that I want to be in this or that.
Well, you've invested your spirit into this, so.
God told me the real spirituality. I don't talk about it, but that's real. I start to be spiritual before to become artist. And the God creator helped me to be more creative. I take, some drugs in Ibiza, and I enter with connect with some entities. It was very strange because I'm really materialistic guy, but
here's something we both found out, that before we were into art, we were both into neuroscience and psychedelics. I used to be a psychedelic drug researcher. I was the second employee at MAPS. I don't know if you heard of MAPS, but they kind of started I was there from like 96 to 98. And so, I was kind of one of the OGs. But I decided, I want to do art. And so, I went to art school and got an MFA in digital art. And, people are like, how did you get from neuroscience to art? I'm like, well, there was psychedelics,
That's
so
true,
he's
yes.
like explaining, and here we are in blockchain. And it's like there's a big psychedelic community in the blockchain community. So yes, it's
all the
very
great
interesting.
masters are talking about spirituality.
So I hadn't met somebody with my exact career path until like today, right here, and of course it's here at a blockchain conference, but so yeah, this is a natural progression. The next progression from there is blockchain. You're so that's awesome.
Okay, that's why.
Okay, so Jay, community. Yeah. So how do you build your community?
Well, it's a tough question because I feel like the word community is sort of overused in the space, and I feel like it makes sense because whenever there's a new niche or a new space in the world, whether it's technologically driven or societal, it's natural for people to kind of come together over commonalities like that. But I think as NFTs and blockchain become more mass adopted and it becomes more normalized, I feel like the whole word community is going to change. I think, like for me, I think that I try to make art that like transmutes the energy that I have while creating it with people that like my art. And so for me, I feel like I'm more interested in like the interpersonal relationships, but then also like inspiring people with the subject matter, with the work, with the style that I create. In the same way the music, like there's certainly a community around certain genres of music, but then that kind of crosses over as well. Like there's people that might not look like they like the same music, but there's something about the feeling, the beat, the energy of there's some X factor there that can't really be explained in like you're a punk rock chick and you're a heavy metal guy or you're a jazz person. Like, yes, there are those communities, but for me, I feel like a lot of people that like my work will tell me like they don't necessarily fit in with a stereotypical vibe of what my subject matter is directly, but there's something about the energy of the piece that speaks to me. There's something about the narrative that I make my own. And so for me, I found like through both my traditional art career as well as my NFT art career, I feel like I connect with people that are sort of like-minded, whether it's on a spiritual level like we were talking about or a friendship level, or just like there's something about the energy or the colors, the composition that speaks to us both. Like talking about like neuroscience, I think there are certain like algorithms or patterns or certain things that we can't necessarily, or I can't explain, you probably could, but there's things that connect us that just draws us together to the same music, to the same colors, to the same building styles, to the same whatever. And so for me, it's about that. It's something a little bit different than a lot of people would define as like NFT community per se.
So how do you promote your work?
I've always promoted my work by just being really authentic. Like I always have wanted to do something with my art since I was a little kid. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And painting was always my side thing. I always felt like I had to have like a real career, like some kind of career with a professional title or something that impressed my friends. But I always painted either after or before that other type of work. And it wasn't until I told the universe, but also it wasn't until I told myself, I'm a professional fine artist. This is who I am. This is what I do. And as soon as I took everything else, all my stability, I kind of threw it away. I kind of tossed it to the side.
I struggle with that. I'd say like so many artists do, like unless you're like, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself to this and be a real artist, but there's somebody that's, you feel like, I need to be putting food on the table and doing all of this other stuff. And just
I mean, I had a mortgage and car insurance and all the nonsense we all have, and it wasn't until I literally tossed that away and said, I'm going to have to make this work, because you get to a certain age where you're like, regret is much, much heavier than anything else. And I started feeling like if I don't do what I really love, I'm going to regret it. And literally within a week of declaring that I'm a professional fine artist, I got invited to be a featured artist in Brazil on an 11-day tour with my favorite musicians. So it's like, I really feel like there's something.
Is this before or after NFTs?
This is before NFTs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well. And yet, do you feel that NFTs have sort of brought that more to fruition?
I mean, yeah, I think it's all interconnected. I feel like for me, NFT is more of a technology, or it's more of a means of distribution. Like if someone loves my work or Kosila's work, They might have a print, they might have an original, they might have an NFT, they might have a T-shirt, and that's okay. Whichever means of distribution you like. But for instance, like this week actually, I'm featured on OpenSea's homepage, which is another like, whoa, this is so cool. But so I feel like the business model or the mentality or the mindset, it's all the same. It really is not different. If you're a good person and you treat people right and you're in it for like authentic reasons, whatever path you take, it's going to work. I really do feel that if you really commit to it. If you have a backup plan, you're going to fall into your safety net every time. But if you say, I have no freaking choice, and I have 3 little kids, so I have no choice, and I make it work, and I feel like everyone can do that.
Oh, that's awesome. It's very inspiring, I could say personally.
Me too, yes.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring because I'm not on his level of authenticity because I come from Parisian and a lot of fake galleries. I had this one. It's like a coming out.
Wait,
but
fake gallery?
Yeah, fake. For me, there is many fake artists. They are not doing their works. They are stalling many artists. There's many artists like that. That's what I discovered. I was really disappointed. Even in DJ, they are using how do you say, ghost producers. It's not authentic. They are not the real artists. They stole works of people and they put another name.
Do you think this is more prevalent in France because of the government
it's everywhere the
supporting
same.
artists more and everybody's an artist?
Although
it's easy to say that you're an artist, or do you feel that this is...
Yesterday we was in a gallery. We met an artist. She painted a little butterfly, a white butterfly. She said, the white butterfly is dying mainly because he's following the fake light of humans and he don't follow the light of the moon. If he follow the light of the moon, he will be in the natural cycle. But he follow the fake lights, he will die, and he will destroy their essence of life. And this is what I'm starting to understand because I come from the galleries and all the show business, even as DJ, because it's easy money. But now when I start to, I try it. I said, okay, it's not my stuff because my soul, as you said, you are not aligned with yourself and you regret it because you will make something and you don't like it, and you're an artist and you see it and it's not real stuff. And this is, I think, in NFTs, that's really more important because you touch a lot of people and you receive more feedback about yourself. And this is why it's intense.
So this is also a part of your community. How do you engage with your collectors?
For example, my collectors start by buying my physical art. And when they bought NFT art, I have something that I need to be more humble because the price was very pumping and in the bear market it was destructed. And my collectors called me and said me, what's this shit? What is this NFT? I bought it for a lot of money, I gained, and after that now I couldn't sell it for anyone. And I said, oh my God, okay, I need to just feel it and just let it go. Because I told him, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make my best, but there is many things that I couldn't control. Yeah. And this is what is new. This is the innovation.
I kind of almost feel like the best time to start as an artist is in the bear market because then, you're just going up from there, It's like...
You can ask to Jay, but that's the real question. What is the real bear market? What is the purpose behind the bear market?
That's everybody's question. Yes.
Good luck. Yes, I think that's a good thing because it's when people are saying that the bear market will clean it's cleaning. It's like a cleaner, right. Very deep cleaner. But that's fantastic because it's clean even me, even my soul, even my mindset.
It's true. I see in New York with my artist friends that are making NFTs, like they're not as concerned about what the market's doing because they're doing what they've always done and they believe in it in terms of, the philosophy and, just higher power, kind of like where you're going with it. And I think, that's definitely going to preserve things and kind of when things mature, like they're...
I like what Jay said because we talk outside of this stage. We talk a lot. He's older than me. He have 13 years old than me, older. He don't look like he said, I like because I feel really secure when I talk with real artists as him because he is artist. You can fake it. You cannot do anything else. Then if you are artist, you are artist. That's it. This is what I discovered. I made artist by joking. It was really fun. But when I stopped to make artists. I find another job. I just say 2 months because I always thinking about my art. This is what I am. I am artist, and this is what is really strange.
Right, you're not in it for just the money. There's just like so much of that in the NFT world. Like, oh my god.
I don't care now. Right. I don't care about the money.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
Yeah.
That's very strange,
yeah.
but I'm shifting on that.
That's authentic, and that's what you want. You want to be an authentic.
I need money, but it's less important because I have enough money also. But yes, that's very strange.
Yeah. So I'm also wondering. You guys mentioned curation and representation. So if either of you could start first, do you work with any galleries, or do you prefer, or any platforms that are, you said that OpenSea is showcasing you, which is great, but to be curated, there's quite a bit of debate in the NFT world because people think, oh, curators are just gatekeepers or whatnot, but it's like, really, if you're going to have a store, if you're shopping for something, you kind of want it curated a little bit. You kind of want to be next to, you talk about music, like what label are you on? Or, you kind of want to get with a group so people could discover you. You have discovery. So what do you find with that? How do you like to...
When I talk to artists, especially younger artists that ask for advice on those types of things, I always tell them that I think for business purposes, if you want to be successful, it's a great marketing move to do one thing and to do it great. However, I don't always follow that myself because I feel like Kosela, like we said, we've talked outside of the stage, and I think we have a similar kind of... energy with our work, right? Where we let the inspiration take us where it needs to. And I really admire artists like Picasso that was constantly evolving, constantly adapting. Like he would do one style, then he was bored of that, did something else. And I feel like I really admire that path. So with myself, I try to curate my work in not necessarily subject matter, but styles maybe. And so I think it's important to give each of your styles or each of your self-expressions its own home. So you might have a little fenced-in yard. Here's where this work goes out to play, and I have another fenced-in yard, and that's where that work goes out to play. But I think for me, I think it's really important to give my inner artist the freedom to explore, and that might mean that this work over here in this area doesn't look necessarily like that work over there. But as long as the work is sort of on separate walls or in separate OpenSea collections or foundation or in a separate gallery area, I think it's important to kind of subdivide your work, but for me, I like exploring.
Self-curation is key, but I'm wondering about other people curating.
Like galleries and things.
Yes.
I've worked with galleries before, and I sort of chased that path diligently. I went to the art expos and all the things in Manhattan and all that stuff, and it turned out to be not the path that was suited for me. That's not to say it's not for everyone, but I am a one-man show. I do everything myself. I have the marketing hat and the artist hat and all the different things you do, the social media. So for me, I really like having control over my sales. So most of my sales are through my e-commerce site.
Well, that's the beautiful thing that a lot of artists say the NFT world has been great for. If they felt like they couldn't really work with galleries or any particular, curators in that sense, it's been wonderful. So for you, before, how would you say your artwork before till now? Do you say it's really helped launch things for you?
NFTs specifically?
Yes, because there's so much you can manage your own stage and everything.
For me, I can only answer for myself. Everyone has a different answer. For myself, it's just been an additional branch on the tree. So I do live paintings with some huge rock stars, and I've done plenty of gallery showings, and I do some art licensing on products that have been sold all around the world, and I have all different kind of segments of my work, and I think it's really important for artists, especially artists that are not at a Banksy level. If you're a normal artist, with a family or trying to make a living, it's really important to kind of diversify your income streams. And so NFTs became another important branch on the tree, but it hasn't changed who I am. It hasn't changed my mindset about art or anything else. It's just another thing that I can nurture.
Okay. So here we are.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, you're independent. You're I've met quite a few artists in New York that are very independent as well, and quite a few that have established galleries, and I know how that works. And so, what about you? How do you feel about,
For me,
you know,
I have this insight when I start to become my own influencer, because before before starting to manage my Instagram, I work with many journalists peer, and it was really complicated because I lost my time always to negotiate, always to talk with them. For me, NFTs is like the same thing on the gallery. You can also work with a great gallerist that he will help you to share with you, to give you space, to give you opportunity. On the other hand, if you have the bad gallerist, then it's more complicated. This is why for me the NFT is something that's about empowerment of your responsibility and how you can manage your work. And even what I discovered in the world of NFT, I can translate it in the traditional art. For me, what I discovered in how to manage and curate a collection of NFT, it's really powerful because you can translate it in the physical art, even in DJ. And this is what you said, Jay, everything is all interconnected. And NFT, it's a part of the continuation of all this curation, influence, sharing, community. It's a part of all the puzzle. It's an evolution.
right? But how do you feel when somebody curates you and brings you into a group of other artists? How do you feel about that?
I feel very proud of me when it's right.
Yeah.
That's normal because it depends. I have so many propositions. I decline some because for me it was not. I didn't like the project, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And there is other communities that when I go there, I feel like family. It's like a question of value. It's question of how to be comfortable. And this is how I search now as artist. And this is why for me NFT is a tool. You can use it for bad, for some reasons. I think it's for more freedom. It's my own reason.
So are you more self-represented?
I'm self-represented also, but I have some managers that I'm talking with them. But they are not my official managers. They are friends, and they mainly work for great galleries. And they are like space. It's like a gaming. That's what NFT. I can be more gamer on my life of art than on the other traditional art. And they're like spies. They call me, they send me, okay, there is this guy, he wants to invest there. I have some spies but with NFT, it's more funny. That's what is more...
So you're finding more power in your career as an artist through being able to make your own platforms with it.
I don't know if the power is more, is the right word. I think it's more funny. Because I can, it's like a game. It's not real serious with NFT. You can create projects, right. You can call people, you can contact them on Twitter. There is many memes. There is a good spirit, I think so. That's what I like.
So what I noticed that with your link, that earlier he had a link to something else that it wasn't related to his work, but the link that you have now, it's on Foundation.
Right.
So do you love Foundation? Like, how's that working for you? Like.
I like Foundation because it was really, you have a spirit of elitism on Foundation. When it starts, you need to be invited, co-opted by other artists. It's like you really feel special when you are on Foundation when it began. And after that, there is some hype with the Pepe meme. After that, you have some manga. There is many things. So on Foundation, I like the project because it was elitist, but I really like to work with rarible projects.
Okay, I think that's a wrap.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is this